Jose Youngster of the MMAfighting.com speaking with number one contender Katlyn Chookagian at the UFC 247 Media Day here in Houston. Now, before we get to the fight, I noticed this big ring you have on, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, look at that thing. Like, that's reflecting the lights behind us.
Right?
Is it true that you were offered this fight before, but you had to turn it down for the wedding?
Yeah, they offered me the fight in September at Abu Dhabi, but it was on 5 weeks' notice, and my wedding was the day before. So I would have had to cancel my wedding on 5 weeks, and unfortunately, I don't get paid enough to do that, and I've canceled a lot of big life moments and stuff for fighting. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't go to my one prom because I was fighting in the Golden Gloves. So it was just kind of like, I'm ranked number one. I earned my spot to get a full fight camp and not have to cancel my wedding and do all that. And, when I said that right away, I was like, no, I'm taking, if I have to take another fight before I get the title shot, I'll do that. That's fine. I'll just win that fight, get another payday, and then, have my wedding, another payday, and then get the title shot. My husband was a little bit more like,
I was going to say, like, was he just like, yeah, go for it?
No, he was like, why are you so positive about this? He's like, I feel like you shouldn't turn down a title shot. And I was like, it's fine. I was like, they might make me have another fight. If not, whatever, I'll win that fight. We'll have a good time. And he was like, man, he's like, I think you should maybe take it. I was like, nope, this is what's going to happen. And everything worked out exactly how I thought. We had our wedding, had a great time, didn't have to cancel anything. And then had another fight, another payday win. And then now we're here.
Did you win that fight you had to skip your prom for?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it was for Golden Gloves in Pennsylvania.
How long did you do that before making the jump to the MMA?
So I started karate as a kid, and then when I was in high school, I started doing competing in kickboxing, and then there wasn't that many girls to get fights, so my coach was like, "Oh, just do Golden Gloves. There's more girls in there, and it's the same thing. Just don't kick." And I was like, "Okay." And I went into the Golden Gloves like just being like, "All right, just do what I do. Just don't kick." And luckily, it worked out, and I actually started competing more in boxing, and I love it. I probably have like 15 amateur boxing fights, won Golden Gloves twice in Pennsylvania, went to the semifinals in New York, and I probably have like 10 amateur kickboxing fights, and this was all like between 15 and like 15 years old and my first year in college.
What do you think of Claressa Shields wanting to fight Amanda Nunes then in boxing and in MMA?
I think boxing, that's amazing for her. That's probably like her easiest payday. MMA, I don't think she's thinking it clearly and doesn't know. We've seen other really good world champion boxers try to do MMA and at a much, much, much lower level than Amanda Nunes, and it hasn't worked out. So I think that it's a little bit easier for an MMA fighter to go into boxing, because even if you lose, it's like, it's not as, but MMA is so different. It's so foreign. Like, even though us as MMA fighters don't train boxing like boxers do, we still at least do the sport. They've never even done the sport. They've never even thrown a kick. So, I think it's something fun to talk about. I don't know if it'll actually happen.
And speaking of this actual fight, I think you've been told once or twice you're a big underdog going into this fight, but I presented this question to Kamaru Usman before he fought Tyron Woodley, and I go, do you ever look at your DMs and just see what people are DMing you about? Like, do you ever, like, peek in and see if fans are saying these things to you and stuff like that?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. You can't, people that say, oh, I don't look at any messages or I don't read any comments. I'm like, maybe you're telling the truth, but I feel like you're lying. You see that stuff. Even if you try to avoid it, you still see that stuff for sure. But yeah, luckily this week, everyone's been kind of pretty nice as far as towards the fight. Everyone's just been being mean to me and like getting on my case for embedded when they saw me put my dog in the dog crate. And everyone thinks I'm like...
So it's not even fight related, it's just like your dog.
I'm like, okay, well, they're like, I hope you get every bone in your body breaks for putting your dog in that cage. I'm like, in the dog crate? That's what it's for. So yeah, most of them have shifted over to more towards that. So not even about the fight.
What about your husband? Does he see all this stuff and he's just like, oh, like I have to say something, and you'd be like, calm down. Like,
No.
It's the line of work.
No, definitely not. We both like, it's almost like comical for us. So we'll just like read through the message and just laugh about it. Cause these people are, it's so crazy. Cause most of the times the people that send me like awful messages are like grown men whose profile pictures are like them with their kids. And I'm like, almost like, oh my God, like how are you raising children if you're like DMing women and telling them they should die. You know what I mean? It's just it's so insane to me. But I feel like that's how that's how most people are when they're not face to face with people.
You're going to have to deal with that a lot more if you're champion, I would imagine. But what's fight week been like for you ahead of your first title fight?
It's for the most part, it's been about the same. I mean, I definitely have a lot more media obligations, but it hasn't been bad. I mean, it just kind of keeps me busy. Less time to just sit in my hotel room, just like sitting around, like, all right, what to do now? So, just kind of moving from thing to thing, workout to workout, and it's been going a lot faster.
Sure. And speaking of Valentina, she's obviously been a dominant champion. She even fought in the bantamweight division, came very close to beating Amanda Nunes both times. How far back were you watching her fight and studying her and be like, I might have to fight this woman one day?
I would say I pay attention to all the girls' fights, especially if they're in my weight class. So, when I fought a couple fights at 135, she was also at 135. So I kind of had watched her fights then, but it's different when you watch the fights like, oh, I might fight that person. And then it's different when you actually get it signed. So I've definitely watched all of her fights, but then, when it was actually signed and everything, and then I, went back and look at it with a different perspective, knowing you're going to fight that person in a couple weeks.
Well, it looks like they're pulling everyone away. So this final question, how do you win on Saturday?
I visualized myself winning this every possible way. Any case scenario, I've visualized it so many times and I can see myself doing it. So I can't exactly tell which way it is, but I know it's going to be one of those ways and my hand's going to be raised at the end.
Well, thank you so much and good luck on Saturday. And congratulations again for that ring.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.